Hey guys, coming to you from Jim's bench. Maybe we'll make that a thing, Jim's bench. We did an intro video for the Dann Huff Original Classic, but just as a guy who I love on the internet named Doug DeMiro does with cars, I'm gonna give you some of the quirks and features of this guitar. First of all, this guitar comes in this configuration, and the stuff on this guitar can only be on this guitar. It's not gonna be on any other Tyler, and stuff from other Tylers are not gonna go on here. There's no substitutes with this guitar. The only thing you can do is your neck size, neck width, stuff like that. That's, your hand comfort. But as far as anything else, we aren't gonna do any modifications. First and most important, when you open your case, you're gonna have the plastic protective cover on the pickguard. You cannot just go ahead and start pulling it up. You have to make sure that both of these push pots on the tone and volume are in the up position. If they're in the down position, you try to pull that plastic, you can break the switch. If you have to take these knobs off for some reason, or taking off the plastic and you're just pulling up on the plastic, just make sure they're in the up position. That's the most important thing. As you know, this is based on Dan's modded 64. I flew to Nashville, you guys know that, and I took pictures, and I just went there really to just kind of make sure I was saying the right things when I talked about Dan's guitar. And I took it to Joe Glazer's, took pictures. For this recreation, we wanted it to be just like Dan's. So after we built the prototype, I flew back with both guitars, and Dan loved it. He actually wanted one. I was surprised. As I was leaving, I didn't even think if he would want one. And he's like, so am I gonna get one of those? And I said, great. So that really told me that we nailed it. I heard it, sounded great. So this guitar is specifically for that Dann Huff 80s sound. One other modification you can make, and I think I talk about it later, but I'll just say it now, is you can get the Wilkinson and locking tuners instead of the Floyd Rose, because he went to that in the mid-90s. But all the records and Giant and all that was done with a Floyd. So if you want that tone, Floyds are part of that tone. But if you really don't like dealing with a Floyd, a Wilkinson is a totally fine alternative, and it's what's on Dan's guitar currently. So to the quirks and features, as I said. Number one, it has a standard Jeff Beck humbucker from Seymour Duncan, 50 millimeter, so it does not line up under the strings. Has no effect on the tone, but we did it that way because it's just like Dan's. So you're gonna see a theme here. The neck and middle pickups are the neck middle version of the hot stacks, and they're weaker than the bridge hot stacks that we use in the Yellow Classic or in just our guitars in general, because quickly after using these, Jim went to the bridge hot stacks because they match better with the bridge humbucker. So these are weak, and therefore the bridge pickup has to be lower into the pickguard than we would set our guitars. So again, we did it, why? Just like Dan's. Now, this guitar has a Tyler Demeter preamp. When you kick it in, it has a few dB boost. When it's out, it's bypassed, but when you kick it in, there's a bit of a boost on the mid-boost, just as a preamp, with the mid-boost all the way down when you kick in the preamp. We did that because, again, it's just like Dan's. It's not available on our other guitars. It's something that Jim got rid of later, because when you kick it in, to just change from a passive signal to an active signal, so you get your lows and highs back, but you don't get a boost. So we did that. Then the switches are series down. Now on our guitars, we do series up. Why did we do that? Because it's just like Dan's. And that one's kind of utility too. So if Dan's in a video showing something, and you see his switches in a certain position, you can kind of eyeball it and catch it in the video and know that you're setting your switches like Dan's. But that can be confusing because we've set the precedent to be series up. But in this case, series is down with the switches. We crammed them in between the tone and moved the middle tone, which is really the mid-boost. Again, why? Because it's just like Dan's. The mid-boost is under the middle tone knob. We didn't put our normal mid-boost knob on, again, because it's just like Dan's. So when the knob is all the way down, one is pointing at you, and tone is crooked compared to the other, so that you can, as you turn it up, it goes from 1 to 10, kind of pointed at your playing position, so you can kind of see where your mid-boost is. Again, that's just like Dan's, and that actually might not have been just like Dan's until recently, when I was out there, took his guitar all apart. I asked him, hey, how did you have the knob on? He goes, I don't know. And I said, how about if I do it this way? And he said, that sounds good. And then when I took the guitar back to him, he said, oh, this is great. I love that. So that's what we're doing. So when the mid boost is down and the tone and volume are up, the words don't match like we would do on a normal passive guitar. Unlike Dan's, the mid boost bypass is under the volume, and it's bypassed in the up position. Normally with a Tyler, up is engaged, but in this case it's bypassed in the up position. Two reasons. One, again, so if you see Dan's mid boost and it's up, then you know it's passive, but as he told me, he said 96% of the time he never bypassed the preamp. It was always on, to the point where he was really in fear of the battery going dead, because it was in his, it was under the jack and it was hard to get to. I couldn't find pushes to go under the mid boost that I liked, so I just decided, let me put it under the volume, because mostly it's in, and the occasional time you want to bypass, it's there for you. And then under the tone is another push, and that's for neck bridge on. Now on Dan's it was only neck on, but Jim went to neck bridge on, and I just decided to roll with that, because then you don't have to think about it. If you're in position 1 or position 5, then you got the outside 2 for telly-like sounds, and then everything in between is all 3. And as I've told you guys many times, one of the main clean sounds is all 3 pickups on, preamp engaged, and the middle pickup in parallel. So that's that. Now, there are a few differences between this one and Dan's that are just better, and I just refuse to do like his because there's no reason. Those being, one, it'll have 22 frets. Why have one less fret just for a look? It doesn't move the neck pickup position, so we're going 22 frets. It has a recessed Floyd, so you can pull back, just better. It puts the whole, you know, playing. That might be one of the things Dan liked better. He really liked how the guitar played, but it puts the Floyd in a better playing position. And then it is going to have a battery box, just easier to change the battery. No reason to not have a battery box. Most importantly is it has James Tyler's California signature logo and Dan's signature decal on the back. And that's basically it. Like I always say, if you have any questions, just hit me at info@tylerguitars.com and I'd be happy to answer.